And it might have even been in that hotel room that night, the Gary Vee incident, where I decided, you know what? Fuck what he says. I'm gonna cold call my ass off until I get my first deal. And then I'm gonna DM him and say, look, proved your ass wrong. What's up? And that literally just lit a fire under my ass. So today I'm going to tell my story about how I proved Gary Vee wrong, and in this interaction I had with him was actually a catalyst of me getting where I'm at today. And it's a very interesting story, especially if you guys have been watching me for a while. So let's get right into the story. It starts back in like February of 2019 when I was learning about wholesaling. I used to watch a lot of Max Maxwell videos. He was advertising his We Live 19 event that he was holding in Dallas, Texas. And he had announced that Gary Vee was going to be there speaking. And so for me, that was like a sign, like, oh, I got to go to this. Like there was something pulling me towards this wholesaling thing. I was watching a lot of videos. Back at that time in my life, I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So there was a lot of different things I was looking at. I was looking at stocks, maybe getting a job at a financial institution, real estate. Like there was a bunch of things I was looking at, but something was pulling me towards this with the Max Maxwell thing. And once I saw Gary was going to be there, I'd been watching Gary's videos for years to that point. So now at this time, I'm still completely a noob. Back then, I thought I knew a good amount, but I knew absolutely nothing. I had very limited knowledge and very limited experience. I had done some direct mail campaigns. I had done a little bit of cold calling, but I never gotten a deal or even a lead or any success at all. So I actually buy the ticket. I get a hotel room, a plane ticket, and I was a little nervous flying across the country to a place I've never been with 1,000 people I've never met, these heavyweight wholesalers that were on the stage, and they were actually in the same hotel lobby as a lot of us, and we were talking to some of them, and it was a bit crazy for me. You know, I was 22 at the time. So then when Gary Vee came on and spoke, it was pretty lit. His speech didn't have too much to do with real estate or anything, but it was still pretty dope. Just about like taking action in general, I think. So for Q&A, I get in line to ask Gary a question. Now there's over 1,000 people at this event in this huge convention center inside of a Hilton hotel. I take the mic and I say to Gary, I say, hey Gary, my name's Keith. I've been following you for a long time, man. I'm a huge fan of your work, and I'm actually from New Jersey as well. And I said, my question is, how do you wake up in the morning and do shit that you don't feel like doing? And he said, I don't do shit I don't like to do. If you're happy making $30,000 a year at your job, you know, being in business isn't for everyone. And I was, you know, slightly unsatisfied with his response. So I gave an example of what I meant. And I said, you know, for example, when I wake up in the morning, I don't feel like cold calling people and asking them if they want to sell their house. From there is when it pretty much went downhill. Gary said, you should never cold call again in your life. People started chuckling, and he goes, don't do shit that you hate. He goes, you should walk out of this conference right now. He pointed towards the door. And by now, everyone's laughing. Over 1,000 people are laughing. And it was pretty funny how he responded. But I did look at the door, and I thought to myself, maybe I should just fucking walk out of that door right now. Like, fuck this guy. I felt humiliated, and I talked to him, whatever. We went back and forth a little bit more after that. I can't remember too much of it. I made the walk of shame back to my seat. I felt like I was in slow motion since everyone was staring at me. I was still a little upset. I was kind of just, by that point, I was just done. I didn't care about networking with anybody anymore. Or I was just kind of like, I was out of it. And people kept coming up to me, which was annoying me too. People kept coming up to me, hey, you're the kid that was talking to Gary Vee about cold calling. Like, people were saying that was hilarious and whatever, but they were nice about it. They were cool about it. They were really trying to help me, and people were coming up and saying, you know, you could hire a virtual assistant. You don't have to cold call. They were trying to give me advice, which was great. It was annoying me, though, that people kept coming up to me. But then the next day, I'm walking and there's these two guys. I could tell they're walking directly behind me. I don't know if it seemed like maybe they were talking about me or they noticed me. They start talking to me. You're the kid from that Gary Vee thing yesterday. And they're talking to me and trying to give me advice, but something about this guy was different. So his name was Andre. He was just explaining to me like, dude, if there's shit that you don't like to do, you got to find someone else to work with you and do it. He was really like inspiring me, and he started motivating me, and he's telling me you're going to be up on that stage next year. I really don't, still to this day, I don't know why he was doing that, but it just, from that moment, it completely turned the whole weekend around for me. I feel like Andre answered the question that I was trying to ask Gary Vee about how to handle doing shit that you don't like doing. And so by the end of the weekend, I was pretty much infamous. Like probably 25 to 30 people that came up to me. I met a lot of people because of it. You know, I went back to New Jersey the next day, and surprisingly, Andre called me the very next day. I didn't expect him to do that, and we stayed in contact with each other. Still had a lot of energy, and you know, we decided like, dude, let's link up. I'm in Jersey, he was in Virginia, and I didn't have anything else going on, and I figured now's the time. So now I only had been back from Dallas for a week or two, and now I drive down to Virginia, and I spent a weekend there with him, and we're working, we're driving for dollars, we're cold calling. And I remember I made one call. We were in the car, and he heard me. I left a voicemail to someone. He said, "Dude, that was horrible." And I'm like, "Damn, really? I didn't think it was that bad." He was like, "Yeah, man, you sound like you don't even want to talk. Like you don't, like you sound bored. You sound angry." So later on, we're making cold calls, and I hear the way he's doing it and how he's using his tonality and creating this smooth, soft tone and voice. I don't know. I mean, I kind of just learned from him right there. Like, dude, you don't have to sound tough. Like, why you stop trying to sound tough on the phone? Or you have to sound interested. And it might have even been in that hotel room that night, the Gary Vee incident, where I decided, you know what? Fuck what he says. I'm gonna cold call my ass off until I get my first deal, and then I'm gonna DM him and say, look, proved your ass wrong. What's up? And that literally just lit a fire under my ass and drove me. And that's like why a week or two later, I literally drove down to Virginia to work with Andre and learn from him. When I got back to Jersey, my confidence had grew so much. My skills had grew. I mean, you guys know the story from there pretty much. It takes me a whole year from that point to actually close my first deal, which you guys might have saw in my video, how real estate changed my life in 2020. But yeah, going back to 2019, I had a lot of struggles, and if Gary's watching this or if he sees this, I really thank him from the bottom of my heart. I thought that he took the question out of context, but I'm so thankful that that happened. If that doesn't happen, if I don't go to Dallas, if I don't go to Virginia, meet Andre, if I don't say that to Gary Vee, I know for a fact I'm not sitting here right now, guys. I know for a fact I'm probably not even in real estate. For some reason, that moment, getting humiliated in front of, someone that you looked up to, in front of 1,000 people, it did something to me, like, to hold me accountable. And I thought to myself, like, is this how I want to be remembered? Like, people are going to remember my face as the cold calling kid, and, if I quit, that's how people are going to remember me, that I let that moment, like, get the best of me, or I let Gary get the best of me. Honestly, guys, my pride kind of just forced me to just keep going, and that's why I never quit. My question was actually answered, like, after the fact. Like, I answered it myself in my own head. Like, nobody could give me the answer except for me. It was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, the way that it ended up. And then from there, my motivation was my pride, my accountability. My pride was hurt from that moment. And then from there, it was just, I wasn't going to give up. So you guys have to really push yourselves. You need to go deep into your heart, into your mind. What do you want? And what are you going to get out of this? And what is going to make you want to wake up in the morning, do shit that you don't feel like doing, do shit that sucks, shit that you're scared to do. So for me, if that moment never happens, I can guarantee you I'm not sitting here talking to you guys now trying to motivate and inspire other people. Man,